Hi, I'm Lee Reichert, Chairman of Block Island Race Week 25. We're ready to welcome everybody to Block Island for great sailing and great camaraderie and fun ashore. Now I have with me today Butch Ulmer, who sailed in the first Block Island Race Week. Butch, tell me about your experiences at Block Island Race Week in 1965.
Block Island wasn't much in those days. I had just gotten out of the Navy, and Newport wasn't much in those days. And Block Island was a couple of pegs down. And so you really needed to have a vision if you got there to see what could be done. The island itself had very few facilities, and it was run by it was a little fiefdom for a couple of families that kind of controlled the island. And so for those few people to be able to put together what has become one of the major sailing events in the world you have to give them credit for their vision.
What's the difference between the sailors in 1965 and the sailors today?
They were a hard bunch of sailors and partiers. Sailing in those days was not anywhere near as easy as it is today. You had on the boat, particularly at Block Island, where you had a lot of fog. The boat had a compass, an RDF, a Kenyon, and a fathometer, if you were lucky, and that was it. And some of those boats you had a lead line, not a fathometer. And if you didn't know how to use the RDF, you were down to some pretty short straws. And the boats were not nearly as easy to sail, and they were slower. And the emphasis was much more social. They were hard partiers too. They really were. Now the event has evolved into something far more of a competitive sailing event today. I mean, in the beginning, all the races started right off Salt Pond. And if you couldn't start to windward, you didn't start to windward. And that was it. And nobody said, we used government marks. And it was whatever you could make out of it. And today, of course, that's not the case. The emphasis today is on competitive hard sailing, far less on the social aspect of it. And it's a great place to sail. I mean, I think it's as challenging a place to sail as you can find. I've gone to Key West, and Key West is nowhere near as challenging. You don't have fog, you don't have the current that you have to contend with at Block Island. I don't think the competition is any better today than it was then. But that's all a relative, you have to measure that as the boats that were being used, etc. But the sailors themselves, when they got on the water, were the early Storm Trysail sailors, Block Island Race Week sailors, were every bit as competitive. And as I said before, in many respects, they had to be more astute. You have to say that's why the Storm Trysail Club is what it is. That foundation was as solid as it could get. Those people were just solid sailors. And as competitive sailing evolved, people gravitated towards events. It was very much event-driven, and people gravitated towards the organizations that showed the capabilities of conducting a good sailing event. And Storm Trysail Club has shown itself to be a leader in that regard.
Butch, thanks very much, and we'll see you on the race course next June, and we'll hope to see all of you on the race course in June as well.